Hey guys, this is Magda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build. Today I am building a modern family ranch using the new Horse Ranch expansion pack that came out not too long ago. I was really excited to get my hands on this pack just because I had seen other videos of people building and it looks a lot of fun and I had a lot of fun making this house. And of course, it is in the world, I believe it's called Chestnut Ridge. And I honestly, the lots that came with it, I haven't really played with the other lots, but from what I've seen, they're a lot on the smaller side, which I feel like is okay in a way because it does come with like other areas on this lot. For example, like this one has like the little, um, I don't know what you call it, the little practicing area. At least that's what I've kind of heard around in other videos. So, overall, this house ended up having four bedrooms and four bathrooms. So, it's a quite large house. And I feel like this could kind of be like a generational home just because I did do a main bedroom, like a master bedroom for the parents. I did another, I guess you could say, master bedroom, you could say as well. But for the grandparents, there is an ensuite bathroom there. And I also made a nursery and a child's bedroom. I imagine it was like a teenager, a girl teenager, could be a preteen. But yeah, so overall, I had a lot of fun with a lot of the items that came with this new pack. There was a lot of like cow print or like animal print, and I don't know, I was really digging it. So I kind of played around with that and I pretty much combined the new Horse Ranch expansion pack with cats and dogs and cottage living. And I feel like all of them kind of meshed really well together. And I was originally going to make another corral, but I decided to just, since I already had that one that's actually going to be like where the chickens are, I switched out that front one for an actual like horse stable. And I feel like it was a good choice just because the lot is on the smaller side. I didn't want to add too much. So I feel like those two kind of created a good balance. And on the other corner, I kind of just add a tree. I added that fountain and just kind of like do some landscaping. Really didn't add much to that. If you guys do like this build, it will be up on the gallery if you guys want to download it. But yeah, so the landscaping, I did cut some of it out just because it was, going to be a longer video. And I want to say I move on to that little area in between the house and the chicken coop area. And I figured that area was just kind of like a station work area. That might be where they kind of keep some tools. They might, the sim that lives here might do like some gardening or um, I don't know, just they kind of just keep their tools in that area. Kind of like a little shed, but without the shed. Anyways, I do move on to the inside here in a minute, but just to do like the floor plan in a way, I wanted to make sure that the house was going to work the way I wanted it to on the inside before I fully completed the outside. Sometimes I do that when it comes to certain builds that I'm just not too sure about the overall shell. And in this particular build, I did like it because of course we incorporated a lot of the new pack that came out, the Horse Ranch expansion pack. And I feel like that's what really made me like it so much. But overall, like the outside, and I guess that's why I call it kind of like a modern ranch, family ranch, just because I feel like it was too boxy. It was just too, I don't know. I don't know if too modern would be the word, but I wasn't really liking it. But once the inside, how I started decorating and how the inside layout came out, I really like the inside, just not so much of the outside. But yeah, you guys can kind of play with it if you guys want to tweak it. Definitely do that to your liking. And I just wanted to make sure the inside was going to be good before I actually move on to the outside. I switch out the, I guess, corral into an actual stable. Because for a minute, I did forget that we had a lot of stuff to make the horse stables. So I feel like that's kind of like my reasoning behind it too. But yeah, so I kind of started adding those windows, and honestly, I don't really know what an inside of a horse stable. I mean, I do know, but I've never really been inside one, I don't think, to notice. I don't know. The thing is, I was just kind of playing around with how I think the inside would look like, and it's really disappointing how I can't add like I can't make the upstairs of like that stable work. You guys might know how to do that. If so, but besides adding like another floor, I know I could do that, but then it was gonna make it look taller, and I didn't like the look of that. So if you guys know how to edit or like add tile or flooring to that rooftop, if there's a way, let me know. But anyways, so here I just add a area for the horses. I do the hay that came with it. And I did struggle a little bit, not gonna lie, with how the front of the stable looked like, just because there were so many objects that I really wanted to include. And don't get me wrong, I do include them, but I just wasn't really liking how I was placing them. And I went with like a table in here. I was thinking that maybe, I don't know, maybe like after a long day of practice or writing or something, the Sims here kind of just sit and just relax, maybe have some water, just talk. And yeah, so I add a table there, and I add a lot of stuff on the walls. I really didn't know what to add, but I do add a sink against that wall where the windows are. I imagine maybe they kind of use it to wash their hands after they had a long day of writing, or whatnot. So I thought that was the cool idea too. And I just added a lot of like decor pieces on the walls, that came with that new pack. I really didn't know what else to add, but I feel like it kind of came together pretty well. I also found myself gravitating a lot to the Laundry Day stuff pack. I feel like it went really well with this new Horse Ranch expansion pack that we got. So I used a lot of the items from that. And I do show some of the landscaping because it really wasn't a lot. It was mostly just like terrain paint, which we actually got, I want to say one or two new ones with this new pack, and just some of like the bushes and flowers and stuff that I added around the actual stable. And I want to say around like the fencing area. The fencing area is really close to like the borderline of the actual lot. And of course, it's from debug. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do that just because it is on the smaller side. I didn't want to clutter it too much with extra landscaping. So yeah, so I kept it pretty simple. And here shortly, I will move on to the chicken coop area. I really didn't add much except like the actual chicken coop and some hay. I want to say I add like the water containers. I don't think they use them. I'm pretty sure they don't. But I don't know. I imagine that maybe sometimes they might put like a horse in there, just temporarily. So yeah, so I add those containers, and then I do move on to the inside, and I do want to say that most of the inside, like probably like 80% of it, is just the Horse Ranch expansion pack. I tried to use most of it just because there was just so many items to work with. So I was really excited to play with that. And I did cut out some of the bathroom footage inside just because they looked pretty much the same. I used the same cabinets and the same sinks and stuff. And there is a total of four bathrooms. So there is a half bath downstairs. And then each of the main bedrooms, so the grandparents and the parents have their own bathroom. And then there is a shared bathroom upstairs for the kids. So this house has plenty of space for however many Sims you want to have in here. You can definitely play around with the floor plan, and it doesn't look as big on the outside, I don't think, but I was very surprised with how much space I had on the inside. So I also had enough room to make like a whole dining room area. and a breakfast table. I also want to apologize if you hear talking in the back. I'm currently recording this in the morning, and normally I do it at night. So my husband is currently having a meeting next door in his office. But anyway, so here in this part of the build, so the porch area, I do it towards the middle or later on when I'm actually doing like the entrance or like the foyer area. I actually do add a whole bunch of windows on like that wall where the front door is at, just because I feel like it needed more light. And the doors that came with the expansion pack, the other ones were just a little bit too big for the area. So I kind of just decided to stick with that one door that's already there and just added some more windows around it to frame it. So I really like that. And here for the living room, I originally was going to make like a big tall living room to where you can kind of see like kind of like a loft area. Um you could see it from the upstairs if that makes sense. But I wanted to use the upstairs as much as I could to add like those other bedrooms. So I just settled with just, having this space and I feel like it looked pretty good. And also what I ended up doing is with that chimney with the fireplace, I actually ended up making it taller. So what I did is just I kind of grabbed the same chimney and just made it smaller with the shift key and used the brackets to just kind of raise it up a little bit. So it looks like it continues on to the ceiling. So I really like that detail, and I really enjoyed playing with all the stuff that came with the pack as far as the living room. I feel like it came out pretty quick. I want to say the living room and the kitchen were probably the only two areas where I wasn't as indecisive as I usually am. It came out pretty quick, and I'm really happy with it. The only area that I wasn't too sure about is right there where like the windows to the porch are facing. I didn't want to add another table just because I already had one facing the front of the house. And I felt like I didn't want to add a bookshelf either just because I didn't want to block those windows. So I settle on later down the video, I want to say I add an ottoman. Ottoman? Ottoman. Yeah, so that's what I ended up placing in front of those windows. And one thing that kind of did bug me about this build is I didn't have a back door. Normally with these types of house, I always like to add like a back porch, or in my head, I know it's not realistic, but in case of a fire and the front door is blocked, you want to have like another exit. So, um, you probably can add that, maybe take away the laundry room, because that other room right there is a laundry room. So maybe deleting that and adding a porch and squeezing in like a staircase. I feel like it could kind of make it work if you kind of make the other side of the house a little bit smaller. But yeah, so here I am working on the kitchen, and I was going to choose those darker cabinets that came with the new pack, but because the floors are a little bit more on the darker tone, I wanted to kind of create a balance. So I went with a little bit lighter swatch, and I really liked it. I kind of combined them with the smaller cabinets that are from base game, and I feel like they kind of mesh pretty well. I feel like these new windows took this place to like a whole different level, just because they are more like on the modern side, but because of like the wooden frame, they still look like kind of like rustic in a way. So I think they're my new favorite windows now, along with those that I used right above the sink. So yeah, I really enjoyed playing with like the whole window placement, and I used them a lot in the dining room as well. And I just feel like it kind of transforms a whole room and adding more lighting. But yeah, so I end up just cluttering up the kitchen. I used a lot of the cottage living, laundry day, and of course the new horse ranch pack. So I just cluttered it up, and I really like those pans that came with the new pack. I feel like definitely going to be another item that I use in a lot of my builds. But yeah, so I'm playing around with like the cabinets, and I want to say I end up using the one that came with Jungle Adventure, on that one wall right in front of the breakfast table. I feel like I wanted one that wasn't too big, but wasn't too small, and I feel like that one was the perfect size. I also switch out the washing board, I believe is what you call it, from the laundry day pack that's on the right side of the kitchen. And I ended up just putting a regular, like, picture frame of a farm there. And reason being just because I already had a washing board in the laundry room and I just didn't want it to be too repetitive, especially with the two rooms being right next to each other. But yeah, so I just finished up cluttering the kitchen and then onto the china cabinet. I mainly just clutter it up using a lot of the stuff that came from, I want to say, cottage living or the country kitchen kit. Both probably. And then right after here, I go immediately into the dining room. So I was really excited to work on the dining room. Reason being because of the chairs with the cow print on them. I feel like we really don't have items like that. We do have like zebra print and like leopard print on like beds and like rugs and stuff. And I want to say we do have like a pink cow print, I want to say. That's what it is. In one of the kits that came out not too long ago. But as far as like this, I don't think we have any object sizes. So I was really excited to use like the couches and the chairs, and I just used that regular long table. I want to say it came from either Jungle Adventure or Cats and Dogs. But yeah, and then I just chose a regular black rug just because I feel like the chairs were just very vibrant and they stand out a lot. I didn't want the rug to kind of clash with the chairs. And another favorite item of mine that came with this pack are those little vases with flowers in them. I feel like I really enjoy any type of plants or like vases, flowers, anything like that that they can bring to us in these packs. I'm here for it. I really do enjoy adding those around the builds. And here I did kind of struggle with this wall. I wasn't too sure how to decorate the table. So I ended up just choosing, I want to say, that little bowl that came with like little stuff in it. Not too sure what it is. I think they leave it and then I add those two lamps. And I want to say I switch them out. But now looking back, I really like how those lamps look on that table. So I should have just stayed with it. But anyways, here shortly I do move on to the entryway. This is another favorite part of the house for me just because I really like how I added the shelves from like the floor to the ceiling and I kind of created like a little seating area. Stacking up two ottomans, I sized them down and then I stacked them up to kind of create like the perfect size. So I really enjoyed that. And then I cluttered up the shelves, not too much because it already has a lot of books. And of course, my favorite part too is how I stacked up those windows. Originally, I was gonna use like those tall ones, but I just wanted a little bit more grand to the entryway. So yeah, I really like that. I don't think I've ever done something like that. But yeah, so I just end up cluttering up those shelves and then I end up adding like a small round table right in the middle or right in front of the door. They're actually the same ones that I used as end tables right here in the living room. And I want to say I just add a vase, the new vase that came with the new pack with those flowers. And I just imagine that when the Sims come in, that's usually where they leave their stuff, like their keys and whatever clutter that they have with them. And I actually add a different table, which is a longer, tall one. Well, it's not long, it's tall and it's kind of narrow actually. And it looks like it has like space down in the bottom for like baskets or something. But I added towards the end of the video and I added on that wall kind of across from the bathroom door. And I added a mirror there. And I feel like that's probably like another location where they just leave their keys and their stuff. So I don't know. I feel like it just added a really good touch. And that's a really nice table too. I actually use it in the parents' bedroom as well. But anyways, here I come into the laundry room and I was originally going to add a door here. I feel like you can, again, if you kind of make the right side of the house where the dining room table is at a little bit smaller, you can maybe add like a door that leads to maybe a back porch or something and still include maybe like the laundry room. But honestly, I just really like how the floor plan came out, I really didn't wanna tweak it, but you definitely have the room to do so, just because, there's a lot of space when it comes to the downstairs area, so you can definitely move and adjust the floor plan as you please. Um, I really, really like those windows. Again, I placed them here. I imagine whenever they're doing their laundry and stuff, they're kind of looking out at the scenery. And I add that shelf on top of the washer and dryer. I see a lot of simmers do that too. When it comes to the laundry room, and I don't know, I feel like it adds a good touch, to it. It makes it look more built in and realistic. And for this half bath, it's pretty simple, just toilet, sink, and mirror. And I want to say I do use that mirror in the upstairs bathrooms as well, and the same toilet as well. Just kept it very simple in this bathroom. And I was gonna add originally like tile floor in the laundry room and in the bathrooms, but I don't know, I really like the feeling of just all of it being like hardwood floors, the entire house. Maybe this house used to be their grandparents' house at one point and it was a lot smaller. And throughout the years, they've just kind of added more to the house and renovated it and just added more bedrooms. And I don't know, I really like that storyline. So I just left the wooden floor throughout the whole house. I imagine those are the original wooden floors of the house. So I kept that. And then for the porch area, I want to say I kind of keep it simple as well. I add a rug and those rocking chairs. And towards the end, I want to say just in the screenshots, I add more plants to that front porch just because I feel like it looked kind of empty. But anyways, here I am onto the second floor and I start with the parents' bedroom first, I believe. And here is where I kind of got indecisive when it came to the parents' bedroom because originally I was not going to have a grandparents' bedroom. This is just going to be like maybe like a kid's bedroom as well or like a home office. But because I did have a lot of room upstairs, I mainly used like the open space for a smaller living room and I had enough room to fit a desk and a computer. So the other room ended up becoming the grandparents' room, and I actually played around a lot when it came to the room in there because I feel like it was a big room. It was big enough to add a bathroom, but because of where I placed, like, the door to leading to, like, the front porch, um, or the balcony, it was kinda hard to squeeze in a bathroom, but I did make it work. But here in the parents' bedroom, I immediately knew that I wanted to use that bed, the metal bed, that I wanna say came with cottage living, and I kinda just decorated the room around the color scheme of that bed. So I kinda mismatched the furniture. I used base game and the new horse ranch pack. And I really like overall how this room came out. I feel like it's pretty simple. I didn't clutter it too much. I feel like I kind of left the bedrooms. I just added like the necessities. And then I feel like once I get to playing with like the storyline or whenever you guys download the actual build, you guys can kind of clutter it depending on your Sims personalities. So I did struggle a little bit though with this like door area for the bedroom. I feel like it was just a big space and I wanted to fill it up with something. So I ended up removing the mirror from there. And I want to say I add the door to the bedroom there. So I end up switching that up. And I don't know, I feel like I kinda liked it better just because it looked a little bit more filled in and it didn't look as empty. So I do that here in just a moment. I was trying to work with like a picture frame, a mirror. I want to say at one point I had like a coat jacket, but it didn't work. So I just left it. I left it alone and I end up coming back and switching it up. But anyways, here I do like this area when I those shelves, honestly, I love those shelves and I want to use them everywhere. And I really wanted to use them here and I would have if I didn't have like that other empty space there. I was trying to make it work with like originally adding the couch there, but it just wasn't working. It was a small space. So I ended up switching the desk from that space to where that big window is to the side, and then I add the couch there in the front, just because it was a lot bigger and it made sense. But yeah, so here I add that one table that I was talking about. I really like that table. I definitely see myself using it in a lot of my builds just because it looks real realistic. I feel like I've seen that before online or like at Hobby Lobby or something. So, but yeah, so here when it comes to this area, like I said, I really wanted to make it work just because I really like how the window was placed on top of the shelf and it just looks like a little nook, like a little study nook. But I ended up switching it and I still use the longer shelf above the TV though. I ended up switching it to that wall. So I'm still pleased with how it came out. I normally don't use a lot of shelves, surprisingly, when it comes to my builds. I feel like I should because it's very realistic. I feel like a lot of us have shelves on our walls with like books and picture frames and little knickknacks. So I feel like that's um one of my goals in my builds is to add more shelves and just make it look more realistic. But yeah, so I just kept it pretty simple here. I want to say like a chair, a sitting chair, and then a lamp, and I want to say a coffee table, and that's pretty much it for this area. I do forget to clutter up the desk, so I do go back in just a minute and do that. And I also want to say I add a table in the hallway against the wall, and I totally forget that I'm supposed to put a door there for the bathroom. So you will see me decorate the wall and the table, and I leave it in just because I really liked it. But I ended up just switching the table and placing it right across against the stair rail, and I add the door to the bathroom. So I do go into the parents' bathroom now, and I keep it very simple. Again, keeping in mind that maybe once I start playing with the household, or if you download the house and you put your own Sims in the house, I feel like you can kind of clutter it to their personalities. So I kept it very simple. Originally, I was going to go for like a more antique kinda looking bathroom, but again, kinda keeping in mind that maybe this house has been kinda growing with the family. Originally, it was the grandparents, and little by little, they've just been updating it, and I imagine that the upstairs is pretty much kinda all brand new to the house, so, the bathrooms are pretty modern looking, like, I use, like, the new bathtubs, so it's kinda modern with the bathtubs, but then they still incorporate, like, the farmhouse as far as, like, the wooden cabinets and those, mirrors. So, I really like how the overall theme of the house kinda just flowed throughout the entire build. You will also see it in the kids' bedrooms as well. I placed the sheep rug that came with the new pack in the nursery, and that was actually what inspired me to make a nursery. And in the teenagers' room, I want to say I used stuff from like the high school pack, but again, I really didn't clutter it too much, thinking that, your sim could do that based on, their personalities. And in the grandparents' bedroom, I did cut out the placement of where I put the bathroom just because it was very repetitive. It was kind of just similar to the parents' bathroom. I want to say I cut out the kids' bathroom as well because I already had the downstairs and then the parents' bathroom in the recording. So it was just very repetitive. But here I go and decorated the desk, just added some plants. I want to say that horse little statue and a lamp and just kept it very simple. And I do add that table that I mentioned, completely forgetting that I need a door for the bathroom upstairs. I guess I imagine the teenager was going to have her own ensuite bathroom, but not the case. So I quickly saw that mistake and I just switched over the table, which is actually a really pretty table that came with the new pack as well. Definitely see myself using it a lot, but I ended up just deleting the mirror and just switching over the table to the other side and just placing the door in between the two lamps that I placed on the wall. But I do go into the nursery and I feel like it's very gender neutral. I feel like it can be either a baby boy or a girl. Really doesn't matter. I use a lot of yellows and greens and kind of made it fit in with the rest of the theme of the house. And normally I don't do that when it comes to kids' bedrooms. I kind of just let their personalities take over, and they're usually way different comparing to the rest of the house. But for the sake of this house, just because it is just very farm or like modern farm style, I just wanted to incorporate it all over the entire house. So I made sure to do that in the nursery room and in the teenagers' room as well. I kept it very simple, didn't add too much clutter like I normally would, especially on the walls. I kind of go overboard when it comes to teenagers' bedrooms, adding a lot of like posters and stickers and such. But for this build, I just kind of kept it very simple. I already had in mind the bed that I wanted to use, which was that one or one of the two. I wanna say one of them came from high school living and the other one maybe cottage living, but they kinda give off the same vibe, and I imagine maybe it's like a bed brought down from, like, grandma and mom and stuff, so, now the teenager has it and just didn't clutter it too much, just I wanna say I add a lamp or a plant on the dresser or a candle, but I do add jewelry and some makeup, and I wanna say that's it. I keep it very simple. I add just the final touches as far as adding plants and some more picture frames. So we're coming on to the screenshots now. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
You said, let me tell you everything I've seen, the friends I've made, and then you tell me how you've been. Look a little closer, it's been quite some time. You gotta let me know if I'm out of line. But there's some words that I just wanna hear you say, to put it all straight before this night turns into day, and then I'm on my way. Yeah. Yes, I'm on my way. A bit naive and so eager to please. You know I played for love, but it got me on my knees. Now's the time to reap what I've sown. Your words echoing in every single bone. Underwater, so far out at sea, there's no cure for what you're telling me, and soon I'm on my way. Yes, I'm on my way. This pain is not of the ordinary. Every time that I breathe, I can feel your worry. So I have to take my love and write a different story. I'm on my way.